Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Lord, living personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. For reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very name of Congress, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, Adonai Rishi, the supermost being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and to Srila Vyasdev, the author. Nashtarayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavad Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhakti Neshtiki. By regular attendance in classes of the Bhagavatam and by rendering of services of devotee, all that struggles unto the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, whose praise is transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Ajnanatimyantasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with all object knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. Hare Krishna.
Welcome to Srimad Bhagavatam class. Am I audible?
No.
No? So today's verse that we have is 5:14:27.
Most important chapter.
Okay. Before starting, I would like to ask for your presence or answering the questions. I will probably make mistakes, and you guys know more than me, so we can collectively, teach each other. So please add your inputs, anything that you would like to add.
Check.
So this text, it doesn't have a meter, like it would be hard to read, so that we can go word by word. So you can recite after me. Advani,
Advani,
amusement, Ima, Upasargas, Tatha,
Sukha Dukha,
Raga Dvesha,
Bhaya Vimana, Paradonmada, Shoka, Moha, Lobha, Matsaryeshvara, Mana, Shud, Pipasadi, Vyadi, Janma, Jara, Maranadya. Advani, amusement, Ima, Upasargas, Tatha, Sukha Dukha, Raga Dvesha, Bhaya Vimana, Paranumada, Shoka, Moha Lobha, Matsaryeshvara, Mana, Shud, Vipasati, Vyadi, Janma Jara, Maranadya.
Yes.
Altogether.
Advani,
All together.
Amusement, all these
Upasarga, eternal difficulties. Tatha, so much also. Sukha, so called happiness. Dukkha, unhappiness. Raga, attachment. Dvesha, hate. Bhaya, fear. Abhimana, false prestige. Pramana, illusion. Avmana insult, Shut hunger, Pipasa thirst, Adi tribulations, Vyadi disease, Janma birth, Jara old age, Marana death, and so on.
Translation.
Yeah, so we can read the translation together.
In this material life, there are many difficulties, as I have just mentioned, and all these are insurmountable. In addition, there are difficulties arising from so-called happiness, distress, attachment, hate, fear, false prestige, illusion, madness, lamentation, bewilderment, greed, envy, insult, hunger, thirst, tribulation, disease, birth, old age, and death. All these combine together to give the materialistic conditioned soul nothing but misery.
Okay. Three parts. You can read first.
The conditioned soul has to accept all these conditions simply to enjoy sense gratification in this world. All the people declare themselves great scientists, economists, philosophers, politicians, and sociologists. They are nothing but rascals. Therefore, they have been described as mudhas and naradhamas in Bhagavad Gita 7.5. Namam dushkrito mudha prapadyante naradhama mayam asura. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. Due to their foolishness, all this materialistic are described in Bhagavad Gita as Nardamas. They have attained the human form in order to get released from material bondage, but instead of doing so, they become further embraced, embarrassed, aimed amid the miserable material conditions. Therefore, they are Naradamas, the lowest of men. One may ask whether scientists, philosophers, economists, and mathematicians are also Naradamas, the lowest of men. And the Supreme Personality of Godhead replies that they are because they have no actual knowledge.
They are simply proud of their false prestige and position. Actually, they do not know how to get relief from the material condition and renovate their spiritual life of transcendental bliss and knowledge. Consequently, they waste time and energy in search for so-called happiness. These are the qualifications of demons. In Bhagavad Gita, it says that when one has all these demonic qualities, he becomes a muta. Due to this, he envies the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, birth after birth, he is born into a demonic family, and he transmigrates from one demonic body to another. Thus, he forgets his relationship with Krishna and remains a Naradama in an abominable condition, life after life.
So yeah, at the end we see that it's written birth after birth, that person is born into a demonic family life, and he transmigrates from one demonic body to another, and thus he forgets his relationship with Krishna and remains a Naradama in an abominable condition life after life. But there's like one catch. It can change if a devotee interferes. Right? It's said that devotees are more merciful. Sometimes Krishna has to go by rules, right? So if a soul has done a lot of bad karmas or he hasn't surrendered to the supreme knowledge, then he has to go through all these demoniac births, demoniac life forms to actually get rid of all his karma and figure out a way to elevate his consciousness, right? But a devotee is, if he interferes into the life of that person, that he can bring him back to his original senses, right? That's why it's said that devotee is more merciful and he's actually doing the confidential work of the Lord. Because even though Krishna has to abide by the rules, but deep inside he wants everyone to come back to him, right? So Krishna is very happy to see when devotees do that work for him. Devotees take up so much austerities to be able to help other jiva to go back to Krishna, or at least start their devotional service, right? Like we go out for Sankirtan, then a lot of Sankirtan people, even though a person doesn't take a book, they're able to, talk to them or at least give them some knowledge about Krishna. And that's when, as soon as they hear Krishna, their devotional life starts. Or as soon as they eat prasadam, for Rath Yatra, which will come now, we serve like in thousands, right? And that's prasadam. As soon as the person eats, his devotional life starts. Yeah. And like, it's even said that a devotee is greater than a demigod. Right? When a demigods are highly elevated personalities, but they also have their self-interests, right? Like they want themselves to elevate. But when it comes to a devotee, like Prabhupada or Prahlad Maharaj, they have no self-interest. They want others to go back to God as well. Because these Prabhupada or Acharyas, all the Acharyas, they are representative of Krishna. They're coming down from Goloka to help us. Right? Like, they don't have any self-interest. They didn't have to come all the way from Goloka to help us get back on our track of life. Right? But they are so merciful. They are so affectionate to all the jivas that like, okay, Krishna wants all of the jivas to come back to him. And they see Krishna in so much pain all the time because Krishna also is seeing everyone's pain, right? And it also hurts him that we're just being rebellious. We're not accepting him as our father. Right? Krishna, if even in material life, right? Like father-child bond, if the child is being rebellious, it hurts the father, right? Like, even though the father is doing all the good things, but then because of some bad association or some bad thoughts, the child sometimes get unbalanced or out of track from his path of life. And then that hurts the father. But then father, what can he do? He can just instruct him back. And because he has the free will to take up what the father is saying or not. Yeah.
If the upbringing is right, the child will not lose that right. If the upbringing is right, so it was in the father's hand, but they took the action when they know what do we call it? When it was too late. Same way, what's wrong? I mean, Krishna could have, taken care of us too. Why did he put us in the clutches of Maya? It's like everywhere there are conditions in this material.
That's a good question. So, as to what I think and what I've read, Krishna didn't want to let us go from his home. It's because we asked for it. Like,
Then why did he create this materialistic world so much of conditions?
actually, he did us a favor. Okay, let me put it that way. If you're too comfortable somewhere, would you want to go out of that situation ever?
So distracting.
Huh?
This is so distracting that we cannot even remember him too.
Actually, no. Okay, if everything is good in your life, generally, would people remember Krishna? No, right? But because he's so merciful, he made the material world in a way that it's not ever possible to find contentment here. Like, he knew that even though the child is rebellious and he's asking for all these things, but at the end he will not like what he's asked for. So being merciful, he made the material world and has given us everything, the free will to go there and enjoy. But he's made the material world in such a way that it's never possible to enjoy it.
But the Jew doesn't want to, live in the God. Instead, the Maya, the moment you try to get closer to the God, the Maya becomes so strong it distracts you so quickly, and again it's fighting between you and mind.
In Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada explains that a jiva, when he desires, the desire is created by jiva, it's not by Krishna. Krishna only sanctions the desire. So whenever, as soon as you have desire, Krishna fulfills the desire, and as long as you have desire to enjoy material nature, Krishna will fulfill that. And you might think, oh, I'm trying very hard, but inside, deep inside, you know you have desire to enjoy materials, and that's why you are suffering. But as soon as you surrender 100%, like literally surrender, at that level, Krishna says, then it's become very joyful for you to live life, because now you're totally dependent on Krishna. That does not come like overnight. You have to like chant for, some people chant for like birth after birth, and then they come to that level. It does not come overnight. So it's a slow process, like a long marathon. You have to go through, chant every day, follow principles, and eventually you will reach to that point where you are totally surrendered to Krishna, and at that moment Krishna reveals himself, and then you feel like happiness throughout the 24 hours. Maya won't even come to you. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, my pure devotees, they get joy, very joy when they converse about me all the time. They're always happy. I'm forgetting the shloka, but Krishna says always happy. But we have to become a pure devotee, right? And for that, we have to do our best. We have to do our sadhana, so that one day, hopefully one day, by mercy of Krishna and Krishna Master. It's also said like, no matter how much we try to chant, devotional service is not earned, it's given. So Krishna, when he says, oh, he is making efforts, like genuine efforts, he will grant devotional service. But you have to make efforts. It's not like, oh, if I chant 100 rounds tomorrow, the next day I'll become pure devotee. It's not like that. It's like you generally put efforts from your soul, for like literally desire, then you get Krishna. Then you get free from clutches of Maya.
Yeah, and the Damodar Leela, if you would see, there has a very nice significance of like every single time whether Yashoda would try to guide Krishna, the rope will always be 2 inches short. Okay? What is the significance of that 2 inches short, like the rope? 1 inch is the effort that you put in, and the other 1 inch is the mercy that Krishna gives. So without either of them, it's not possible to find Krishna in our heart, or it's not possible to get Krishna. And also, like, we've been conditioned like birth after birth, right? So as he said, like, it's not an overnight process. Maya has to test us, because Maya doesn't want, Maya loves Krishna. Maya loves Krishna enough that she doesn't want that wrong people go to Krishna. When wrong people, I mean, like, if you love someone so much, you would only want to send like right reference to them, right? Like, you wouldn't want, like, this person might harm the loved one, and I'm like, okay, go, no worries. I wouldn't do that. I would be like, test that person. Okay, are you actually good for so person who I love? Yeah, so it's similar to that way. And it will take time, as he said. And yeah, so I was saying, Krishna has made this material world in such a way that we can never be happy in it, which is why we want to go back to him. Right? Like, this material world was not needed, but because we were envious of him, like some of people, including us, we were envious of him, and we had that kind of a mood where, like, why is Krishna only the one enjoying everything? I want to right? And as soon as that thought comes, Krishna is like, okay, if you want this, I will give you that. But even though, like, as I said, he's a father, even if he had to give us something, because we desired, we had free will, he has made that thing in such a way that we wouldn't want that back ever. Right? And the only happiness that we can achieve is by in association of him and by serving him. Right? Okay. It's said in the pulpit that like even the scientists, economists, philosophers, politicians, and sociologists, they're actually nothing but rascals. Right? Like, sometimes Prabhupada says that they don't have actual knowledge. Prabhupada calls them rascals. It sometimes might sound rude, like a rascal, but it's true because they actually have no knowledge of absolute truth. They're just trying to make adjustments in their day-to-day life here and there, trying to be more comfortable in this material world. But it's not possible because that's not what this world is made for. Right? Like, it's like, I've heard this analogy a lot of times and I'm sure you guys must have to, but I would like to repeat here. It's like you're decorating inside of a jail. Right? Like, you're actually caught up in the jail of this ocean of birth and death, with all these sufferings that are mentioned here: distress, attachment, hate, fear, false questions, delusion, madness, lamentation, bewilderment, greed, envy, enmities, insult, hunger, thirst, revelation, disease, birth, old age, and death. All these combined, they're giving you misery, but they're giving a jiva misery. But because we have no knowledge of the absolute truth, we think this is our home. And these people, they try to make adjustments like, oh, we can find this to be more comfortable here. Right?
Scientists, engineers, they are making the life comfortable. We are the ones who are like using it. We are the ones who create the design. Like we are using the mind, we are using the television, we are using the internet, we are using everything that's created right now.
So the part is like, if it's being used in service for Krishna, then it's good. And but sometimes it becomes fanatic, and that's not nice. It says like people who are trying to make their life nice right now without Krishna consciousness, and they say they're happy, they're nothing but an illusion. Right? Yeah. Anybody else would like to add?
Right. I'm sorry I'm talking too much, but for your point, like you said, the Krishna is actually the one who gives them the intelligence to make this thing. We think that we made it. Bhagavad Gita explains, "Ahankar vimut atma karta amiti manati." Out of false ego, we think that we are actually doing these activities, but they are actually done by the emotional material nature, which is ultimately controlled by Krishna. So Krishna is a very clean man. He gives intelligence, and from that intelligence, we do things. So Krishna is actually sarva karana karma, cause of all those. So if we use the same things which Krishna provided in his service, then we don't become conditioned, we become liberated. As soon as we turn away from Krishna and use that for our own interest, then
I agree with the question. The innovations that they do, the technologies that they develop, it's just like they say, it's distracting. It's just taking us away from the absolute truth. They don't talk about the absolute truth, and that's why they are us. They don't know anything.
Yeah.
Whatever they create just keeps us more away from
Yeah.
the absolute truth. So,
It's like you said this mic we're using, or we have internet, right? So we have something that is endeavoring more and more to like make it AI based, if I would say. Like something that they're just trying to, how do I put this? Yeah.
Each and every individual have their own purpose. Okay, so what is your purpose? You must understand, like, so entire world is trying to do something, but actually what is your effort to achieve your purpose? Okay, so if you get into their mind, okay, if you are going in their way, okay, it's not their problem. They are trying to capture people, okay, so you can be away from it. You can use it whatever level that you would like to. You can take a call with your parents. That is technology, that's how it's useful. You cannot blame entire technology. But like there are few situations and few circumstances, they are misleading it. You can avoid them. Social media and other stuff.
I absolutely agree with you, but that is the question of misunderstood.
Maybe
Yeah, it's okay, it's maybe more.
Okay. So yeah, all of these people who are like politicians and scholars and all these people, they will talk about all sorts of things, but not like Krishna. They will even quote like Bhagavad Gita here and there, but would not understand what they're saying, would never surrender. Right? And for them, it's like they don't understand the purpose of life. If I would have to ask you guys, what is the purpose of your life? What would you say?
Prema.
Yes, that's true. But how will you get Krishna Prema?
By sadhana, by practicing devotional service,
Right, by practicing devotional service,
by chanting.
by chanting. So the purpose of life is basically to elevate our consciousness, to reach the level where we understand the absolute truth of life, right? The absolute truth, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and we're able to love Him without conditions, without having any self-interest. That's the purpose of life. But mostly people are engaged in doing four things: eating, sleeping, meeting, and defending, right? If you think, like, if someone has got a human life, what is something that they're doing differently with other 8.1 million species of life who are doing exactly the same thing, from lowest species to the highest species? It's just the same thing: eating, sleeping, meeting, and defending, right? But humans have that consciousness to think about all these questions, like, what is my identity? What is my purpose of life? Humans have the ability to ask these questions, inquire about these questions, and go back to their actual place. In any other form of life, it's not possible. Right? Unless Krishna has so much mercy on you, like the deer form of Jarpada, he had that consciousness too, that he went to the ashram of the sages and he avoided any bad association of other deers, right? Like, that's the mercy of Krishna. But mostly people are just so engaged in doing all these four things that they never think about the actual purpose of life. And even if you see in like the media, right? All they talk about is how to get some flickering moment of happiness. Buy this, buy that. This thing is available. This thing is available, right? They never talk about absolute truth of life or the actual things that can help someone, help the society at large, right? Like, they just want to bury all these nice topics under the rug. Like, you would never see them like in the mainstream media, like, because mostly in very few people who are actually empowered to talk about this, and they're trying so hard to get this in mainstream media, but most of the people, because the audience has such kind of thought process talk about some ways to get temporary comfort, and they like it. And that's why Prabhupada calls them rascals. Right? Yeah. So as he says in the verse, they're simply proud of their false prestige and position, and they do not know how to get relief from the material condition and renovate their spiritual life of transcendental bliss and knowledge. And mostly the focus is on body consciousness and not Krishna consciousness, and that is the cause of all suffering. Right? We're not saying that do not take care of the body, do not exercise, or do not do stuff like that. Just take care of the body to the extent in which your soul can live happily, right? Soul can live nicely. Endeavoring more and more to make your body look like, how do you say? Beautiful, yeah, polished. It's not helping you in any way, right? This body will go away at the end of life, and the soul will go on like that. It looks so funny with this book. It looks so funny. Yeah. And I also have one verse that in which Prahlad Maharaj is explaining what happened to the people who were too addicted to the materialistic life. So he says in Canto 7, chapter 5, text 30, he says, Prahlad Maharaj replies, because of their uncontrolled senses, persons too addicted to materialistic life make progress. They make progress, but where? Towards hellish conditions, and repeatedly chew that which has already been chewed. You see, when we go have sugarcane drinks, and the person has already taken on all the juice, and those remnants are somewhere on the side, and then an animal comes and he's still chewing the same thing, thinking it still has juice. It's like that for us, at least for me. So and then he says, their inclinations toward Krishna are never aroused, either by the instructions of others, by their own efforts, or by a combination of both. Even after they are instructed by others, they never listen. And those are like the unripe mangoes that Prabhu talks about. And you can just let go. If you meet them in Sankirtan outside, it's better to, even if they don't listen to you, it's okay, just let them go. They're not in the right mindset to hear you right now. And then I'm going to read the purport of it. In this verse, the words Matir na Krishna refer to devotional service rendered to Krishna. So-called politicians, erudite scholars, and philosophers who read Bhagavad Gita try to twist some meaning from it to suit their material purposes. But their misunderstandings of Krishna will not yield them any profit, because such politicians, philosophers, and scholars are interested in using Bhagavad Gita as a vehicle for adjusting things materially, and for them, constant thought of Krishna or Krishna consciousness is impossible. Like I said, they're just trying to mend what Krishna says to be able to adjust their way of living, right? They would try to justify how their living is nice. But Krishna never said those things. And then, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 18.55, Bhaktya mam abhijnananti. Only through devotional service can one understand Krishna as he is. The so-called politicians and scholars think of Krishna as fictitious. The politician says that Krishna is different from the Krishna depicted in Bhagavad Gita. Even though he accepts Krishna and Rama as the supreme, he thinks of Krishna and Rama as impostor because he has no idea of service to Krishna. Thus, his only business is puna, punas, janmata, janmana, chewing the chewed again and again. The aim of such politicians and academic scholars is to enjoy this material world with their bodily senses. Therefore, it is clearly stated here that those who had grihavrata, whose only aim is to live comfortably with the body in the material world, cannot understand Krishna. And it's not possible to live comfortably in this material world without Krishna. If anybody says that they're living comfortably in this material world, they're bluffing. They're not saying the truth because it's not possible. Only way a person can be happy is in association of Krishna or by doing devotional service for Krishna. If they're saying material life is okay and they're happy, then that means they have Krishna consciousness in their life.
It's like feeding the bird in the cage instead of decorating the cage. The bird in the cage.
Yeah, like you're still in the material life, but because you're taking care of the needs of the soul, you're happy.
As we talk about these philosophers, let's say some scientists or somebody else, they do some work for everybody. Let's say somebody who invented technology or somebody who invented cars, and it is being used by even Vaishnavas to like go to temple or to listen Bhagavatam lecture. So they will get so greedy for that thing to like cause it's because of their invention. So somewhere they will go towards devotion by that. Isn't that?
I actually don't have an answer to that. Yeah. If anybody else would like to add something, we can.
Because they are making the things convenient, at the same time they are providing a platform of distractions too.
I think the only problem is it's not a problem that they're making inventions, because Krishna is the one who gives intelligence, right? So, but they become proud of it, and then they want to. They discovered one thing. They made a nice car, and now they got praised, and now they want to make it better. So they're doing day and night just to add sound system to it. Or they're working day and night to make the tires better. I mean,
But that sound system can be used in listening to kirtan or bhajans while going over there, or travel, like tires could be better used, like if some devotee has to go, let's say, Alberta, that we need better tires for that.
but that's why I also said, like, if they're happy in material life, that means they have Krishna consciousness in their life. If someone is not Krishna conscious and their tire broke down in the middle of the road, they're going to be frustrated, right? But if you have Krishna consciousness in your life, you'll be like, yeah, like, you're not frustrated. You'll know you'll find some solution or Krishna will help you. But if you're not in Krishna consciousness, then that mode of comfort for you becomes frustrating all the time. If nothing in it, something in it has broken down or something in it is not working.
They feel like they are controlling the world. But they're
Yeah.
not there with control.
Yeah, because they're an illusion, right? It's like someone says, I've made spacecrafts to go to different planets. Prabhupada says, there's an easy way to go. Just read my book and reach out to the planet. Like, you don't need all these big spacecrafts to go there. You spend all of your life, 60, 70 years, just to figure out that formula for sending that spacecraft. And I've already given that like ages ago. Yeah.
John.
So, few more things. Yeah, so we understand like this situation of that demonic mentality. Like even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna explains, like if you would read 16th chapter, whenever Krishna talks about the demoniac things that people do, it's very true to this age. Like Krishna knew at that time, like how people will degrade in karma and how they were progressing or regressing in reality to that kind of establishment, that kind of community what they're creating. Right? So I would like to talk a bit about this. We may not be able to read all of them, but we can discuss a few. So Krishna says like, O son of Pritha, in this world there are two kinds of created beings. One is called divine and the other demoniac. I have already explained to you at length the divine qualities. Now hear from me of the demoniac. Those who are demoniac do not know what is to be done and what is not to be done. Neither cleanliness nor proper behavior nor truth is found in them. They say that the world is unreal with no foundation, no God in control. They say it is produced of sex desire and has no cause other than lust. Following such conclusions, the demoniac, who are lost to themselves and who have no intelligence, engaged in unbeneficial, horrible works meant to destroy the world. Taking shelter of insatiable lust and absorbed in the conceit of pride and false prestige, the demoniac, thus illusioned, are always sworn to unclean work, attracted by impermanent. They believe that to gratify the senses is the prime necessity of human civilization. Thus, until the end of life, their anxiety is immeasurable. They're always anxious till the end of their life, right? Like even at 70, if someone has been trying to find that formula to go to, like the Mars or any other planet, and they spend their 40 years of life doing that, they will be anxious. Oh my God, I'm dying. I need to pass whatever knowledge I have to someone else, and they need to start cultivating. And then they push someone else into that hellhole, you can say, right? Because they wasted their life, and now they want someone else to waste their life for their cause, and they're not actually giving the truth to other people. That's why it's always said we need Krishna conscious leaders who can guide the society to the right path. Okay. And then Krishna says, bound by a network of hundreds and thousands of desires and absorbed in lust and anger, they secure money by illegal means for sense gratification. And then they say, Krishna says, the demonic person thinks, so much wealth do I have to leave, and I will gain more according to my schemes. So much is mine now, and I will increase in the future more and more. He is my enemy, and I have killed him, and my other enemies will also be killed. I am the Lord of everything. Like we were saying, that he thinks he's controlling everything. And Krishna says that's the demoniac nature. I am the Lord of everything. I am the enjoyer. I am perfect, powerful, and happy. Hiranyakashipu had that kind of mentality, right? As soon as he got the boon that he cannot die, all these circumstances, day, night, in, out, man, woman, all these. He thought he was like God, right? But that's not true. He thought he could control everything. Krishna found a loophole to bring him back to his senses. Yeah. And then he thinks, I am the richest man surrounded by aristocratic relatives. There is none so powerful and happy as I am. I shall perform sacrifices, I shall give some charity, and thus I shall rejoice. See, they're thinking that sacrifices and charity, so they have some security in them, but then it's only because of self-interest. And it's not helping them in any way, it's just giving them more karma. Like we talked about 3 kinds of karma, like Sudarshan Prabhu was talking about it, about the class. Karma, vikarma, sukarma. That all these charity works and sacrifices, if not done for Krishna, it only gives you karma. Sukarma. Akarma. Akarma, vikarma, and karma. Okay. Yeah, so that gives you karma. Yeah, so it's just like they're just anxious all the time. I never reach that level. Just one. So yeah, it's a very dangerous situation, and to be in that kind of a squishy life where you've got like a demonic emperor, right? So Krishna consciousness is actually the greatest welfare for the society, because you're trying, when a devotee goes out and try to give Krishna consciousness to others, it's the best thing that they can do in the world for them, because otherwise they will just be degrading down and down to the lowest of the species, and they're just going to be entangled in birth and death, right? So yeah, and what is the duty of a devotee? It's to help Krishna, or to help the purpose of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that Hare Krishna mantra is sung in every single part of the world, right? Yeah. I think that's all for today. Yes.
So, as a practicing Buddhist, like we should help people and try to bring them to Krishna consciousness. But how to not become proud of that thing, doing that service? How to not become proud of that? Because
It's funny you ask that, because I've been struggling with this too. Yes.
I mean, whatever the words you're using to preach, you call that intelligence, right? But that intelligence comes from Krishna. You only know that because Krishna taught us. So the intelligence is not coming from within you. And if you are proud of it, like, oh, I know this, that's why I'm able to preach to people, then I think that's where you're kind of in a fault. Because you can only preach by the mercy of Krishna, because Krishna wants you to preach, and Krishna gives you the intelligence, the right words. So you should not think of yourself that, oh, I know it, that I'm doing a favor to this person. It's Krishna.
Whenever you have that thought, like sometimes you have the subtle thought inside your mind, and when it comes to me, I try to catch that thought as soon as possible, and then it's always better if you make a prayer to Krishna in that moment. Krishna, I'm feeling this way, I'm feeling this pride, and I know it's not good for me. Like you took out the intestines from it, like Hiranyakashipu's stomach, right? Just like that, please root out all these anarthas from my heart. Like, that's the prayer that my mentor taught me.
As soon as this idea, this thought comes, like, this is to be served to Krishna, if I just think this pride, or if I contemplate about this appreciation, then it's going to affect my son. As soon as this consciousness comes, I guess that false ego goes away.
Yeah, goes away.
As soon as you realize, like, this thing's going to be affecting my bhakti, a small realization, as soon as the rays of sun come, darkness go away. The same way I feel like, as soon as I just kind of, recall the words that are shared during Bhagavatam class, like, if I try to contemplate on this appreciation or to enjoy this appreciation, it's going to affect me, so I need to let go of these thoughts. It helps me, this little consciousness that helps me in the process.
Yeah, like it's always nice. So I remember Brahmananda was saying that last time. He says, do not, whenever someone appreciates you, do not say like, no, I'm not that, I'm not this. Like, take that appreciation, say thank you, and pass it to Guru and Radha.
Sudarshan Prabhu said the same thing to me.
Yeah, like do not deny that appreciation, because whatever you talk about is from Shastras. So that knowledge is coming from Gurus, right? So if you say no, it's not, I'm not doing anything, it's okay, you're the instrument, right? So think that, but pass it to, in your heart, at least in your heart, even if you can't say out loud, pass it in your heart, pass it to Guru and Radha. Krishna, this appreciation is not for me, this is for you. Or Prabhupada, this is for you. You've done so much for this community. thank you for making me the instrument to be able to pass your message. I think you can do it like that.
Yeah, that is the thing. So I asked the same question to like a lot of like literally a lot of Chaitanya Sharan Prabhu, Mama Prabhu, Darshan Prabhu, this Prabhu, that Prabhu. And I'll share the best things I had about that. I think first of all, like they said, like it's never like when we say, oh, I'm a preacher or I'm a leader or I'm this, I'm this. It's always like a preacher servant, a leader servant. When you say that again and again, oh, I'm a leader servant. I'm a servant, but I'm trying to serve you by leading you. Then your mentality changes slowly and slowly. And again, sharing like whenever they see anything, like obviously Prabhupada, because of Prabhupada has told us like we have to glorify Vaishnavas, you just see like, oh no Prabhu, like the mood should be like that. What Sudarshan Prabhu told me, like we say, okay Vaishnava Thakurami Tomar, like I'm your dog, oh Vaishnava. So basically we just say them like, I'm just repeating the same words which Prabhupada, like a dog like listens from here and start barking here. I'm listening to Prabhupada and I'm just sharing the same thing which Prabhupada is saying. I'm doing nothing else. I'm just copy pasting it.
Just very proud Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Actually, I realized this thing during the last Bhagavad class, Bhagavad Gita class. I asked something similar like this, and it's like in a verse it was said that it's only because they had the Sukruti, somebody is able to approach them and bring them to Krishna consciousness. So I asked Sudarshan Prabhu that, okay, last Rathatra I called a friend, like he called me, he saw my stories and things like that, and he wanted to come to Rathatra. And then I called him and then we met, and then I gifted him a Bhagavad Gita, and then he started coming to temple regularly. So I asked Prabhu, so it wasn't me. So it was basically his Sukruti that he called me and then we got into touch. So it was only because of his Sukruti that everything happened. I was just an instrument. So Prabhu said, yes, exactly. And you have to see that this way every time it happens. So it's not you, it's because of the mercy of Krishna or somewhere his Sukruti that he is able to come to you and you are able to do something that your part that needs to be done.
Jai!
Grandpa Srimad Bhagavatam.